All right, everybody, if you are a console player, PS5, or an Xbox Series X player, today's video is for you because I am going to show you exactly what you need to be looking for in a TV when you're shopping, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you some specific recommendations with some killer deals going on right now with TVs that are very friendly for your gaming adventures. Now, I want to note that if you were just to walk into a Best Buy or a Costco and just buy the best 4K TV, you'll get a great TV and you'll be able to have a great time watching your movies and shows, but odds are it's a 60 hertz display, meaning it's only going to be able to put out a max of 60 frames per second, which for movies and shows is more than enough. So with gaming, we know that both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X can output at 120 frames per second and do 4K. And on top of that, they can both do what's called variable refresh rate, commonly known as VRR. So what should you actually be looking for? Well, some of the key things: you want a TV that can do 4K because both consoles can do 4K. You want a TV with 120 hertz refresh rate because both consoles can output up to 120 frames per second, and most TVs only do 60 unless you're actually looking in and making sure that it can do 120. A word of caution: there are a lot of TVs that when you even look at the box, it'll say it's a 60 hertz refresh rate with the ability to do 120. That's not actually doing 120. It's doing what's called like motion smoothing. There's some other marketing terms for it that they use. They're boosting it up to 120 hertz refresh rate. You're not actually getting 120 hertz refresh rate. It's essentially digitally adding in frames in between to create that smoother play, but it's not the true thing. And a lot of people, specifically with gaming, tend to complain about how odd it feels. And so aim for a TV that actually has a native 120 hertz refresh rate. And speaking of refresh rate, you're also going to want a TV that supports variable refresh rate, commonly referred to as VRR. And essentially what that is if your console, for example, is told to output a game at 120 frames per second, but maybe it's, overloaded for a moment, it might only be putting out 110 or 95, and it kind of goes up and down depending on what's going on in the game and the performance of your console. And so what that does is your TV recognizes how many frames the console is sending out, and it will match that versus the TV's just stuck at 120, but your console is only doing 95. That increases the probability of some screen tearing that's happening. This is pretty common in PC gaming. It's almost just not thought of. It's just like kind of automatic now, but you're seeing this now in TVs to where they support VRR. And then there's HDR support, which both consoles support HDR. That basically just enhances the picture. And good news for TV buyers, most TVs today support HDR, and there's different levels of HDR, but the ones that I'm recommending today, they will all be good, solid HDR displays. And when it comes to size, 55-inch tends to be kind of like the average size that a lot of people will get just for their home TVs, for gaming, for movies and whatnot. You can go bigger and smaller, but what I would recommend if you're not sure what size would look good on your wall or on your stand is if you open up Amazon, most of the TVs that are available, there's a little button down there where you can actually digitally view it in your room. And so you just open it up and it uses AR to scan your floor, and then it will actually give you a realistic look at what this TV will look like in your room. I've used it before, and it is very, very accurate. So with all of that out of the way, let's hop into the first recommended TV for you guys. And this will be a great one for anyone. You're going to be able to take advantage of pretty much every feature. You're gonna get variable refresh rate, you're gonna get 4K, you're gonna get 120 hertz refresh. You're gonna notice how it says 240 up here at the top, and if you plug it into a PC, and that's debatable because it is a native 120 hertz display. And so what they're doing is they're kind of using like motion smoothing to get those additional frames. But again, we're not buying this for a PC. I wouldn't recommend this for a PC player, but it's a good size screen at 50-inch. You're getting everything you need. And it is a QLED display. So one quick note about displays, you're gonna see three common ones when you're shopping. There's LCD/LED. They're kind of used interchangeably, even though they're technically different parts of LCD technology. And then you're gonna see QLED, which is essentially kind of an optimized, better performance version of LCD. And then you're gonna see OLED. And OLED is kind of right now considered like the best of the best that you can get for a display, whether it's for movies or for gaming, because the pixels light up individually versus using like backlit technology. But you're going to pay a lot more for that, unfortunately. So that's why this TV is such a good deal at $500, because it is a QLED. But again, you're going to be getting everything. Like if you're just on a budget and you want a good size TV that can get you all of those, all of the performance that your console can push out, including HDR support, this is it. I'm going to put links to all of these TVs, both here in the video as well as down in the description below. Now this TV here is a crazy good deal right now. It's just under $900, but everywhere else, Amazon, Best Buy, from everything I've seen, it's still selling for $1,500, this exact same TV. And you're getting this for under $900. You're getting everything that we talked about on the previous TV, but you're getting that OLED display. So every single pixel is lit up individually. It's a great picture. Yes, it's a little bit more money, but the biggest downfall of this is probably that it's a 42-inch TV. Now, if this is something where it's just gonna be, you're gonna be sitting close to it, like on a chair that you pull up to your TV, that's not gonna be so bad. But if it's gonna be out on a wall and you're kind of sitting far away in a couch, 42 inches might feel a little bit too small for you, but this is a great TV deal to be aware of that will get you that really high quality picture. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, Brandon, just give me the best of the best, money is no issue. This right now is considered probably like the best TV that you can buy, especially if you are a PS5 player. It's built by Sony. It's part of their lineup that they kind of claim is like made for PS5, or I forget what the exact terminology they use, but it will get you a crazy high response time. So it feels almost real time. Not that the other ones are slow. They're all really good response times, but this one's like lightning fast if you like want to be competitive on a TV. And you're getting that OLED display. It's 55 inches. Sony has a great reputation with TVs, obviously. It's got all the smart stuff built in. The Dolby Vision HDR is one of the best HDR displays that you can get. And it also has like all the calibration. So it knows to work with your PS5 and it will auto calibrate for the best picture. Most TVs, once you buy them, you need to do a little bit of manual calibration with your console, with whatever content is coming out, and you got to calibrate it at first. This takes care of that for you, but again, you're gonna be paying dearly for that at nearly $2,300, but it's a great TV. Now, if you are someone who doesn't quite want to spend that much, but you want something similar, you're not going to get like the auto HDR mapping and calibration and all of that, because it's not built for the PS5, but you're getting all of the same specs and the same great OLED display. You're going to pay a little bit less here, and you're getting 10 more inches. Now you're talking about a good size TV, 65 inches. You're getting that OLED display. You're going to be getting all of the HDR. You're going to be getting the variable refresh rate, 120 hertz gaming. All of that will be on this TV, and you're spending considerably less. It's still expensive, $1,800, but it's a lot better than the $2,300. Now, if you are a PS5 player and you are on a little bit more of a budget, this would be a great TV. These next two actually are part of the same lineup. I believe they're just two different sizes. Yes, they're both the X85K series, and this series is also designed for PS5 to where that HDR calibration, that super high response time, or I guess I should say super low response time, that's all built into this. The big difference is you're not getting an OLED display, you're getting an LCD display for both of these. So you can see that for a 55-inch 4K, you're getting all of the variable refresh rate, high refresh rate. The 55-inch is going to be $800, and the 43 is going to be $600. I think it's personally, if I was between the two, I would definitely upgrade to the 55-inch. But again, you're going to be getting all the same stuff that you would get in this Vizio 50-inch TV, but it is optimized. So if I'm an Xbox player, I'll probably lean towards this since it's such a good deal, this first Vizio deal. But if I'm a PS5 player on a budget and I want something similar, and I'm willing to pay a little bit more, then I might get this because I want all that calibration stuff just auto worked out. It's not a huge deal to do your own calibration, but some people just want to plug and play. And if you have the TV made by the same manufacturer as the console, then something like this can make sense. And again, Sony has a great reputation with high quality displays, but they're both really good and highly rated TVs for console gamers. Now, the easy rule of thumb when looking for a gaming TV is that you want a TV that has HDMI 2.1 inputs, at least one of them. And what that does is that means that it's got 4K capabilities at 120 frames per second. HDMI 2.0 only does up to 60 hertz refresh. You can do 120 on that. And HDMI 2.1 technology has VRR built in. So you're also going to be getting that variable refresh rate, whether you're on an Xbox or on a PS5. And all of the TVs that I listed today have HDMI 2.1 capabilities. And if you're looking at a listing and you're unsure, because a lot of times they don't list this up here, you can usually see that if they say somewhere that it's 120 hertz refresh rate, like right here, then it's probably HDMI 2.1, but you can always double check the specs, or especially on Amazon, just go down to where the question section is and just type in like 2.1, and you'll almost always see someone ask that question, you know, does this have 2.1? And you can see that there's answers, yes, yes, yes. It does have HDMI 2.1. Just make sure, a lot of times people will plug in stuff and they're not getting that. Often it's because they didn't actually plug in their, they didn't plug in the cable into the right HDMI port. They plugged it into like a 2.0 one. So make sure you're plugging into the 2.1 port, and the content has to also support that. So just because you're watching TV doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to be getting 120 frames per second. It's whatever the content's broadcasted in, the TV will be able to support up to 120 frames per second. And now that you know what you should be looking for in a TV, the beauty is now you can use sites like techaudit.tv to sort through deals. So you can see here I've got TV selected, I'm going biggest price drops, and you can even throw in your budget like $1,000, and it will show you all the biggest price drops happening across the web on TVs that meet your criteria within your budget. And that's just a great way to be able to quickly find where the best deals are for TVs. Now, if you are someone who is still debating on whether or not you should be gaming on a monitor or TV, this video right here is for you. It is geared towards PS5 players, but it still applies to Xbox, and it's just a good overview of the pros and cons of gaming on these different types of displays. Enjoy.